Okay, so here we are. It's been 1 week since I started this temperature blanket. Pardon my bobbling around here. I've got a bunch of stuff out. So here it is so far. I like how it's looking. Pretty pleased with my color choice. Kind of wishing I had maybe reversed the order of where the pink and the purple are, but no, because the purple comes before the blue, because it's gray, pink, purple, blue. So I guess it actually works out perfectly. So never mind that. Did have a little bit of a problem with the edges here. I wasn't paying attention when I first started the first few days, and I kept adding an extra stitch on every row essentially, and I got up to let's see, one of these is different than the other, but yeah, on this one I got up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, actually 8 stitches. Yeah, at one point. And so I've been working my way back down by just marking where I need to start and counting to make sure I have the right number of stitches. So I worked from 8 up to, or down to now, on this side where I'm going to start right here. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I only need to lose one more stitch on this side, and then I'll be back where I need to be. However, I don't want it to look like I made a mistake, so that I might actually work back out and in. We'll just see how it goes. It's the fun with something like this. It's all an experiment. Other thing I wanted to note is, you may remember when I originally did this that I said I was going for about 60 inches. It is now 35 inches. Because I forgot that when you do a chevron or a ripple, it scrunches up because you make it into peaks. And I totally forgot about that. But anyways, so that's my update. I'm going to go ahead and crochet today's rows on camera. The low today was 39, so we'll be using this gray for that one. And the high today was 61, so we'll be using the blue for that one. Yesterday, I think it was like 42, which is where the pink is, and 64 where the blue was. Yesterday was a warm day. But yeah, so I'm just going to get right into this, and away we go. Okay, so if I want 4 stitches here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to start in this stitch. Okay. Oh, the other thing too that I wanted to note is that I decided to just, so every time I have 8 strands to the side here, let me make sure I'm on frame. Yeah, okay. Every time I have 8 strands on the side here, I'm going to knot them together like this, and I'm actually just going to keep them as tassels, and at the end of the blanket I'll trim them to all be even, but that way I don't have 365 times 2 times 4 ends to weave in, because it would be 2 per day plus having to do them on both ends. So instead of putting myself through that trauma, I decided I'm just going to use them as tassels. Okay. I'm not trying to make them super even, just kind of trying to be roughly even about it so that I don't have any that are super short. Forgot again there that you don't chain on these stitches. And again. I like these dip stitches to be nice and tight. That's why I've undone a couple of them, because if they're not tight enough, I don't want to keep them. the sound in this or not, since I'm not really talking, but if I do, you can hear my wrist popping every time I make a stitch. It doesn't hurt, it's just noisy. Okay, I'm almost to the end, I think. Oh, more than halfway there anyways. We've been doing a lot of yarn spinning videos, which has been a lot of fun. I got an electric eel wheel 6.1. Oh, that's too loose. Got an electric eel wheel 6.1 for Christmas, and so far it's been a dream. It's very nice. It spins wonderfully. It's pretty much effortless, and I've been spinning mostly from Rolex, although tomorrow I'm going to take a break from my very Rolag heavy project, which is roughly 2 pounds of wool blended into Rolags. You can see here's the ones I'm currently working with. I'm going to take a break from that tomorrow and just spin some roving. May or may not pre-draft it. Not entirely sure. Kind of want to not pre-draft it. I don't usually spin that way because I can get really even. I can get like amazingly even yarn if I pre-draft. But I find that drafting on... Oh, I skipped a chain here. But I find that drafting on the on this electric wheel is really, really easy, so I might go ahead and just draft as I go, which is, like I said, not usually how I do it. I mean, I've done that before, but oftentimes when I do that, I don't get as even of a look. It's still pretty even, but sometimes I'm just looking for it to be like super even so that I feel like I'm a professional or something. I'm also planning on doing some roving dyeing videos and wool dyeing videos pretty soon. I have 2 pounds of roving and a pound of wool sitting in the corner over there. I think there's another skipped stitch. Another skipped chain, I mean. Geez, I was just like not paying attention yesterday apparently. I was working on this kind of late yesterday, as opposed to when I usually do it. Usually I've been doing, with the exception of today where I saved them both for doing it in the evening because I saved them both for the video, but usually I've been doing my low temp row in the morning because our lows here usually like 6 a.m. So by the time I get up, we've had our low already. So I usually like get up and I do my low row, and then usually around like 4 or 5 while I'm just kind of chilling, sitting around, I'll do the high temp row. The high temps lately have been around 2 or 3 p.m. every day. So I don't like to go by the forecast because, like, for instance, today the forecast said it was going to be a high of 59. Hold on real quick. There was a small kitchen calamity. Everybody's fine. A plate came out worse for wear, but nobody's hurt, so that's what's important. Oh yeah, so anyways, what I was saying is, I think this is what I was saying anyways, I don't remember what I was saying. But I was gonna talk about anyways, that I have, I've got 3 pounds of wool sitting over in the corner. I have, a bag of something called Rosie's Top, which came with my electric eel wheel. I don't know who Rosie is or what kind of wool Rosie's wool is. Let's see, let me count. 3, 4. And then I'm gonna slip stitch into this last one. That's not gonna count as a stitch. It's just gonna be a slip stitch into this top. Okay. And then, untie this. I can get a gauge of how long I want this to be here. That looks pretty good. Where are my scissors? Oh, way over here. Way over here, okay. When I'm in my yarn room, I use my big scissors. Alright, so that's one row completed. Now I'm going to flip it over and go from the other side. I'm just, just structo me over here, knocking everything over. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the blue. Oh, that's the wrong end. I want this end. Okay. Anyways, 2, 3, 4. I have 3 pounds of wool sitting over there. I have some unidentified wool called Rosie's Top. And I have some Shivia, I think, is what I bought. And I have some more of that merino that I scoured myself. And I have some ideas for those. Actually was like having trouble sleeping last night because my brain was just like running wild with all kinds of colorway ideas for how to dye this wool. Just thinking of like what I want to spin, basically. Ugh. Okay. What am I gonna do with that stitch marker? Found it. Okay. But I'm thinking I want to do like a rehash of something that I did a long time, well, not a long time ago, it was something like maybe a year and a half ago or something. It was one of the first rovings that I ever dyed. I did like an earth and sky kind of thing where like on one end I did like blues and grays and some sunsetty colors, and then on the other end I did some like browns and I think maybe like one green or something. It was mostly browns. But anyways, I had no idea what I was doing at the time, so I wasn't actually entirely happy with how it came out. It was still really pretty, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And I also it was like the second roving I ever spun. I got a hair trapped on here. It's like the second roving I ever spun, and I did it on a drop spindle, and it was like really, really uneven, which I actually don't mind my yarn being uneven, but this was like thick uneven, like so thick it's like, what do you even do with this? And I ended up working it into a shawl. I had some other yarn that I spun that was complementary colored and that I spun like really fine. And so basically what I did was started with the yarn that was really fine and went for a certain, number of rows, and then went in with the thick yarn to kind of create like a thick, wide, kind of like, what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to say? It's like, it's eye-catching. It's a statement. It's a statement strip of the really thick yarn. And so that ended up working out. But I wanted to try doing a similar colorway, but where I actually know what I'm doing, both like with the dye on the roving and with spinning it. When I had originally thought that up, when I made it, I was thinking of the colors being a lot more subtle than they were, where they ended up being really dark, because I didn't really understand at the time how to get... I was used to dyeing yarn, so I didn't really understand how to get the color all the way through the roving without oversaturating it, which I now am a lot more skilled at. So it's basically just like really dark. It's hard to even see what colors I use. Like you get pops of blues here and there, and you get pops of purples here and there, and some pops of green here and there, but it's kind of a mess. Well, it's not a mess. I shouldn't say that. It's pretty. It's just not what I was envisioning. I was envisioning something with a lot more subtle tone. And then I was also envisioning something that was much more of a subtle gradient. But since I spun it so thick, and it was only 100 grams, it didn't go very far. So the gradient really wasn't subtle at all. So that's the other thing I want to do, is spin it much finer. Not like super, super fine, but something more like along the lines of this. Like this varies from like DK to fingering, depending on the area. It's not super even, but it's a lot more even than some things I've spun in the past. That right there was a combination of a length of roving that I started spinning last year and didn't finish, and then I just finished it this week on my EEW. And so some of it's a little inconsistent because I was having a little bit of trouble with the tension at first. And I also I put the hooks on backwards on the EEW, which is silly. It's just silly. And I did not realize that because I don't know why. But I didn't realize that. And so I was, if you watch the video of my first spin on that thing, it's like, it takes me like a good 10 or 15 minutes of trying to spin this before I realized that the reason it's not spinning right is because it keeps coming off the hooks. And it's like, I knew it wasn't staying on the hooks, but it didn't occur to me that it was because I had them on backwards. I was just like, what am I doing wrong? Anyways, I stopped recording and asked my husband to come in and look at it and was like, okay, something is really wrong here. What is it? And he looked at it and he was like, are the hooks supposed to go that direction? Because they're not catching your yarn. And I was like, oh. And so we fixed it and then it was fine after that. But you can see in that skein that some of it is like really lofty and kind of like funny. And that's because I was struggling really hard at first. And so my spin wasn't very even. But as I went along, it got much more even. I did pre-draft that one too. It was just my, it's like the width of the fiber is very even. It's just that some of it is really, like at the twist level that I would want it to be. None of it's overspun, but some of it's a little bit underspun because I was having a little bit of a struggle with the spinning itself. Oops. Forgot to skip that chain again. Make sure the stitch is nice and tight. There we go. Alright. More than halfway here. So far I'm really enjoying doing this temperature blanket. I can see why some people don't really enjoy doing them, but I like to crochet every day anyways. I like to do something yarn related every day. Either crocheting, or I'm spinning, or I'm blending, or I'm dyeing, or I'm, well, not very often, but sometimes I knit too. I'm trying to learn how to knit socks. I have not yet succeeded. I've been trying to follow a toe-up pattern, and the pattern's pretty straightforward. Like, I understand what is happening, but I was having a really big problem with ladders on the sides of the sock, and I came to the conclusion that it was because the I was using needles with a, you know, in the round kind of thing, you know, the loop, and came to the conclusion that while the one that I was using wasn't technically too short, it's too short for a beginner who doesn't know how to manipulate it properly. I haven't really done things in the round on one of those kinds of circular needles before, so I didn't realize that it was going to be so difficult to manipulate them. But anyways, I got one with a longer loop, and so hopefully when I find some time to actually sit down and try to knit a sock again, it'll work out this time. I tried like a couple weeks ago, right after Christmas, but I was having trouble following the video because there was too much noise in my house. As will happen when you have a ton of animals and a toddler. It's hard to find a quiet moment sometimes. Guess I could always do it as a video and come in here and shut the door and then everyone will leave me alone, but I don't usually like to do that unless I'm doing something like this that is kind of planned. I don't know. I'm babbling now. You don't have to listen to me. I might cut this out. I don't know. Trying to, you know, there's a difficult balance to strike when you're doing videos for YouTube where you want to give your audience enough of you so that they know who you are, but you also don't want to just like aimlessly babble about your life. And I'm a babbler, so I find that to be a really difficult balance to strike. That's why, it's one of the reasons I started doing these videos where I'm just like giving a short introduction into what I'm doing, and then basically just overlaying music and speeding up the footage, because it's like otherwise I will just sit there and yammer and yammer and yammer like I'm doing right now. Although with this video I actually want that, because I'm looking at this as more of like a, you know, crochet with me kind of kind of deal here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. But on a lot of my videos, it's just distracting. Also, I don't particularly like the sound of my own voice. So when I'm editing videos that I'm talking a lot in, it's kind of annoying to me. Which probably sounds a little funny, but... Okay, here we are at the end. I'm going to slip stitch. There we go. And single crochet. And I'm going to find my ends here. Pull that out. Looks like about what I want. Snip and pull. Okay. Now, these ones are going to be a little more awkward to tie into a bundle than the other ones. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to knot 2. And I'm probably going to go back and do this on the other one too to try to make them sort of look the same. Knot 2. Oops. Knot 2. And 2. Okay, and then I'm going to take these and I'm going to yeah, I'm gonna knot them together, I think. Hopefully this is all on frame. I think it should be. Pull back just in case. Knot these ones together. And then I'll knot these together. No, I don't like that at all. Okay, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. I'll come up with it and I will show you guys in my next video update what I decide to do with these ends that will maybe work a little better. Maybe I'll do groups of 4 instead of groups of 8. Yeah, that'd work. I'll just do smaller groups. They don't need to be so big. But that's that. Stay tuned. I'm going to be working on a video tomorrow where I spin this. This is just 1/4 of this particular roving, and I kind of weirdly think that it's going to look cool with this when it's done. So I might make a project out of the 2 of them together. Just toying with that. Both of them have a gray end and a purple end. So I was kind of thinking like I'd connect the gray or the purple end. I think the purple ends are connected in the middle here. That's how I spun it. So the gray ends are at the ends. So I'd do this one with the gray ends at the ends as well, and then I'd connect them together in a project. Probably a shawl, because what I like to make are shawls. Yeah, that's that. That's my temperature blanket update for the week. We'll be putting out another video of me spinning this. This was fun. This is part of my Rolag project. I don't know if it's really picking it up, but this has some really pretty kind of purpley gray tones and like green tones and pink tones in it. Really love this yarn. It's a really uneven spin, but it's like that on purpose. I'm making a poncho for my sister that has like leaves cascading down it. It's the arbor leaf poncho on Fiber Spider. I'll put a link down in the description. But anyways, I basically wanted to create something for her that basically like looks like it came from the woods. Like I want it to look really otherworldly and magical and mystical and like it was made from the moss. So yeah, it's my temperature blanket. It's gonna be long and not very wide, and so far I think it's really cute. All right. Have a wonderful day. Happy crafting. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see more of. And I'll be around. Toodaloo and happy crafting.